Now, before handling the upload command, I'm going to add a simple line right here, which is a notification that the file has been saved successfully for the download command. And once that is done, we can now proceed to our upload command, whose syntax is simply upload space followed by the file name. Now, if you can check up here, you can see that these commands are very similar, and so the check is also going to be the same. So you're going to split the inp variable using a white space, take the first value and convert it to lowercase, and compare that to the upload string. Now, if that condition is true, the next thing that we are going to do is to grab the file name. So it should simply be inp.split using a white space, and this time picking the second value, which is the file name, and we are going to strip it of any trailing and leading white spaces. We are going to store that in a variable called file name, and once that is done, the next thing that we are going to want to do is to check if the file exists. Now, the reason for this is that we might have made a typo and end up looking for a file that does not exist. So we're simply going to use the os.path.exists function. So remember to import the OS module up here if you do not have it. And we are going to provide the file name right here. So if not, that is, if it doesn't exist, then you're going to simply print out that the file does not exist. Else, we are now going to proceed to read the file's contents, convert it to a base64 string, and send it to our malware. Now, the format to send the data is simply file_name followed by a colon, then a base64 string of the file's contents. So the first thing that we are going to do is to read the file's contents, and I'm going to create a variable for that right here as an empty string, and then we are going to open the file for reading in binary, and we are going to save those contents in the file content variable. However, we can simply just encode it in one go right here. So b64 encode. So this is the opposite of the b64 decode function, and this function now takes the contents in binary and converts them to a base64 string. So in the parentheses right here, we are going to pass the contents of the file, so f.read. And once we have done that, we are going to proceed to combine the file's contents, which is the file content variable, which is a base64 string of the file's contents, with the file name. Now, to do that, I'm going to create a new variable called tmp, and we are going to use the join function, so.join. So we are going to join both of them using a colon, and the join function basically will take a string right here containing the file name as the first argument, and the second one will be the file's contents. Now, the base64 encode function returns bytes, and we are going to want a string right here, so I'm going to cast that into a string, file content. And also, we are going to add a new line character right here, because if you can remember, our malware basically reads commands from our server until it encounters a new line character, and then it can proceed to execute the commands that it has received. This should be str and not string. And so the next thing is to send this to our malware. So we are going to do con.send tmp.encode, as we have done several times before. And once we have done that, we are going to receive a response from our malware in order to know whether or not the file has been uploaded successfully. So we are going to store that in a resp variable, and we are going to receive 1024 bytes and decode that. And once we have that, we are going to simply print it out, and that is it. So in the next video, guys, we are going to finish up by handling shell commands and the others. See you there.